Conservatively, I believe that you can always look that you'll be doubling your money every 5 to 6 months. Here's what's important. Here's what makes this so different than anything that anyone's ever looked at before. It has 5 rules that have to be followed. They're called 5 critical points, and it's required. You can't vary away from it. First of all, whatever stock that you want to apply the formula to, it has got to have accomplished at least 500,000 shares in daily trading. Secondly, it's got to have paid at least 1 dividend in the last year. Thirdly, it cannot have any negative outstanding lawsuits against it. Fourthly, there's analysts that recommend to either buy, sell, or hold these stocks. This requires that you have more analysts recommending to buy and hold than to sell or hold. And finally, number 5, which very easily could be the most important, is if you took all the stocks in the stock market and kind of lumped them into 3 categories, they would probably fall into a category that looked like this. The first category is where that stock's working its way up. Pharmaceutical stocks are a lot like this. They're working on a drug that is getting a lot of interest, and then the FDA comes back and says they got to go back to the drawing board, and the stock will plummet. Then it'll get some interest again, and it'll plummet. The formula does not work well with stocks like this. Second type of stock is the one that's kind of a boring stock, and it loses interest over a period of time. Agricultural stocks are a lot like that until a crop report comes out and it'll spike up. Then it goes back down until the next crop report. Again, the formula should not be exercised on a stock like that. But believe it or not, there are stocks out there that stay in a very specific zone most of the time. Most of them you will not have ever heard of. They're not your blue chip stocks, who often move with radical choppy trading. No, these are stocks that don't seem to care whether we have a Republican or a Democrat administration. Doesn't seem to care if we're in a inflation or recessionary period. It doesn't seem to mind if we're getting in or out of a war. They're always right there consistently in this range. And that's the stock that has got to be used to do this. So what I have just done, I have just given you what was given to me and thousands of others absolutely free. It's free to you to go out now and do exactly what many others have done. As long as you stick to the 5 critical points and never veer away from them, your risk will be literally nearly none at all. And you'll be getting an average of 10 to 40% monthly return. Here's what happened. After a couple of years, I finally relented and told some 8 people that worked where I worked what I was doing. They were just like me, skeptical, waiting for that shoe to drop where maybe I was going to ask them to have their money. I said, no, this is given to me for free. I'm giving it to you for free. They were skeptical. But after a while, it started working for them. Unlike me, where I kept it to myself. They couldn't keep their mouth shut. They started telling everybody. I started getting phone calls from people I never knew, asking me to verify the formula. I might have been a little rude at first. I told them to go back and talk to whoever talked to them about it. But the phone calls increased to where I had such a large number it became distracting. So I hired a couple of girls to answer the phone. Told them, just tell these folks they can make their way to Branson, Missouri. Here's 2 meeting times that they can come to, and I'll show them and answer all their questions. Still gave it away for free. That was over 15 years ago. Thousands, more like tens of thousands, have seen the formula. Absolutely free. Thought this would help me get rid of all the pestering phone calls, but as it was, the girl said now those people that had looked at the formula now was calling back. They wanted to know what my research was on the 5 critical points. I'm shuffling 3 careers, raising a large family. I'm able to find time to do my research. Why can't these people? One old boy offered $20,000 for my research, according to the girls. And every one of them offered to pay me money, the lowest being $500. So I decided to set up a service for those that didn't want to do the research. I had a software written and designed to do all the work on the 5 critical points. Had all the girls call up everybody and ask them what they'd be willing to pay. Would they be willing to pay to get the top 10 plays that my software would find? Would they pay for that on a monthly basis? It was 100% unanimous. They all said yes. That's what we would be willing to do. My problem was this, that the software gave us too many stocks to sort through. So in a short amount of time, we started adding more critical points. We have adjusted it all the way up to 21 critical points that is wired down, then narrowed down the field on how many stocks, which is still hundreds of stocks that fit the criteria for 21 critical points. We offer the service with the top 10 plays coming out each month, where they get the top 10 plays and they get from me access to me by text or email to tutor them and give them their instructions that they need a little help with placing their trades. Also gives them a free subscription to my news blog, the Timeline News. So for $150 a month, they get top 10 plays, which look like this. If they can point and click, all they got to do is look at the symbol, look it up, and as long as the stock is in a range that's recommended and the option is in the range it's recommended, they're going to get this amount of rate of return on their play. Simple as that. There is a discount if they want to pay for the subscription by the year. The subscription can be canceled at any time. They're not locked into anything. We have 2 rules when we teach the formula. Rule number 1, we'll take our profits up front. Rule number 2, see rule number 1, we'll still take our profits up front. We have a mission statement to educate our students as to how to take full possession of their own money and learn to increase their wealth with my TCB-Formula. Simple as that. Came a point in time where the girls are getting a different kind of phone call. People that were making stupid mistakes. I made some stupid mistakes in my first year. First of all, I did not realize that not every stockbroker out there will approve this kind of trading. They want to be the house. They want to be the casino. They don't want us being that profitable. Not all of them are that way, but many of them have minimum standards. They want the $1 million accounts, not the little tiny accounts. It's unfamiliar territory for the average person, so even in the application process, they were making mistakes. I made mistakes on the application process that stalled getting the formula started. The trading platforms are all Greek. They're all confusing. One of the biggest mistakes that I made, and these people were making, that we would accidentally buy the option instead of sell the option. So what I did, I put together an advanced quick start program that if they wanted to pay a registration fee, which I would oversee them for 2 months, giving them full assistance in just one day. I can set up and get their application and get them fully qualified with a trading account, with the right broker for this type of trading. And then I give them full assistance in explaining and coaching the use of the trading platforms and tools that apply to what we do in the terms of trading in that broker's account. And then we include those first 2 months of the top 10 playlist, giving them those plays, and my personal oversight on all trades in a tutoring service. Still getting the free subscription to the Timeline News, with a one-time quick start registration at this time of $1,545. They can have an express start, something that in less than a few weeks they're going to be making the kind of money that I wasn't able to finally put into my pocket for 7 or 8 months because of all the mistakes I had been making. I include 100% money back guarantee with this, to where if in their first month they do not make this registration plus a profit back in the first month, we give them a full refund. It does require that they have to start with at least a $10,000 margin account or a $20,000 cash account. The money back guarantee has no other hitches. In over 13 years of offering this, have never been in a situation yet where I even come close to having to refund that money. Is people easily make their registration and a profit in their first month. You know, for me, it's about my family. I have a large family. I'm a single dad. I have a big responsibility. My wife, when she passed away of cancer, had set up a nonprofit organization that we're able to subsidize with the earnings that we make from the formula, as well as many other worthwhile causes. What would this do for you? What kind of changes in your life would it be if you could reach 7 figures? You know, it is said that success is that place in the road where preparation and an opportunity meet at the same exact time. Is that what has happened to you today? in looking at this wonderful opportunity. Let me tell you that this is an opportunity that was only offered to me one time. Been doing it over 18 years. I've never had anyone offer to me again. This form of trading is so suppressed by those who put it together. They do not want people to know about it. They don't want everybody to be the house. They don't want everybody to be the casino. So they keep it suppressed. They want everybody to be gamblers, speculators, and buy these options. So they keep it quiet, to keep it suppressed. It's not advertised. And the very fact that you've seen it today should tell you that if you've never seen it before in the last 60 or 65 years, you really ought to take a very close look at it. Let me give you one last example. I mentioned earlier, $5,000 to $10,000 should give you 7 figures in a couple of years. What if you had something that would get around a 10 to 11% return? Let me show you the calculation here of what it would look like. Here you're going to see a rate of return. You're going to see that it's over 10%. Now I want you to look very carefully as I point to you what the annual rate of return will be. Now look at what the compounded rate of return will be, that being where you left the profits in there and reinvested it as well. And you look all the way down to this bottom line, that if you kept that money in there, rolling it over with just a little over 10% monthly return, over and over and over again, look here at this number. How many months down the road? It will only be in less than 4 years that you will have 7 figures. What if it took longer than that? What if it took 4.5 years? What if it took 5 years? My question to you, do you have anything that promising that's going to offer you that kind of rate of return and that kind of wealth in just a few years? If you do, please contact me. I'd like to take a look at that. If not, maybe it's time for you to get involved with this. You can go to the website that's listed on this movie. You can get enrolled immediately right here at the end of this movie at the link that's being offered and get started. They'll always have someone available to you to tutor and help you along. Coach you as long as you want to. And get your profit started in less than a month. Thank you and good evening. I do want to share with you a story that was given to me the very first night that I saw this. It was told to me that when Wall Street developed, it was told to me that when the investment banking industry at Wall Street created options and this incredible opportunity, they wanted to keep it suppressed. There was this investment banker that was being hauled to Wall Street every day by the same cab driver. After decades of running this guy back and forth, he was going to retire, and he told the cab driver he wanted to give him a little bonus for being there for him whenever he needed him. And he offered to give him this formula with provisions. That number one, he couldn't tell anybody about it, and number two, he would never explain how he came across it. I was told that at one time this cab driver was the second largest income earner in New York. When the investment banker died, the cab driver did not feel obligated to keep his promise any longer. So he decided to write a book about his relationship with this banker and how he gave him this wonderful formula. The powerful banking industry, even though the book got published, it never got released, as they got it suppressed. Cab driver started a different, so the cab driver tried a different approach. He had a book written about stocks, mutual funds, IRAs, stock splits, zero down real estate. Somewhere in this book he hid a chapter about this formula. The book got published, and a limited amount of books got released before the powerful banking industry got it suppressed again. That's the story that was told to me. How did I see it? Well, the story continues. The guy that was showing it to me in a room full of other people said that he got it from his buddy that he was in the Marines with, who was now a stockbroker, who was a bit of a garage sale man. And he had gone to a garage sale, and he liked to collect books. And he found this box of books, paid his 4 bits, took the box home, sorted out the cookbooks, the children's books, all the different books, and he come across this one book, and he's looking at the book, and he's, okay, stocks, I know about that, I know about mutual funds, I know about IRA, whoa, what's this? He'd been to school for this, and he had never seen anything like this. He started applying the formula and the 5 critical points. The story told to me was that after 5 or 6 months he was down at this bank, and the banker called him over and asked him, if he had any stock tips, that he'd seen the size of the deposits that he'd been making lately. He knew he's a stockbroker. He said, no, it's not a stock tip, it's this crazy formula I come across. The inquisitive banker pried him to tell him about the formula. And once he got to explain it to him, he took him over in a private office and grilled him on where he'd come across the formula. Once he explained to him how he'd come across it, the banker warned him that he should keep it very, very quiet, as the banking industry had created this for their purpose, not for the public. I was told that this stockbroker then asked them how they could justify taking their depositors' money and paying them such a small amount of money every year for their deposit when they're making 10 to 40% a month. The answer was that it was designed for that purpose, and it was going to be kept that way. That Marine buddy of his that was a stockbroker set out to tell all of his buddies about it, who had told it to that one person that's in the room that was sharing it with me and a room full of other people. I share the story with you so you'll understand why you don't hear that everybody's doing this. It is kept very suppressed, and the baton is handed down from one person to the next, who have handed it down to the next person. And you might even be now obligated to take the baton and hand it down to the next person yourself. Happy trading and good evening.